Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to Niece's Many Musings. This is a series on the Willow's Whimsy channel. I am Willow's Whimsy, Neecie, Denise, whatever. Just don't call me asshole, you know? No, you can do that too. Sometimes I am. But anyway, I digress. I always digress. Niece's Many Musings it's the melting pot, it's the potluck, it's the whatever, you know? And there has to be a series where I just throw shit in there because all my other stuff is usually based on, you know, a theme or a topic. And I, this week, wanted to talk about you girls. I'm not going to go into the whole situation. I'm going to put a link up here. It's a 20-minute video. Many of you watched it already, and thank you. Bless your hearts for hanging in there with me. I had an incident last week with a woman, a friend of my mother's, who just verbally attacked me and was nasty and just awful. And a little update on that, and then I'll go into you girls. I called my mom's pastor the next day because I was angry, and I worked through all of that. I've got a great brother and sister is what I can say to you. And then I've got great subscribers because some of you sent me personal emails telling me about your situations. I got 2 of those. I got another email saying, just want you to know I am thinking of you. I got an inbox on my personal Facebook page saying, you know what, I commend you and you are doing the right thing for your mom. Don't let this, you know, or her opinion affect you. She's being selfish. And that is the bottom line. She's being selfish because I talked to my mom's pastor yesterday, and he humbled me, as my brother did, because what it came down to was her husband died of Alzheimer's. She was with him every day for 3 years. I mean, she lived in her own home. She'd go home at night, but she spent every day with her husband as he declined and was in memory care for 3 years. And she's probably bitter. She's probably angry. I understand that because I see what's happening to my mother. And she doesn't have Alzheimer's, but she has dementia. And so I get that. And then he said, you know, did you deserve that? No. He said, please look at the underlying motivation. My mom has been active. She was active in our church growing up because my dad was the pastor of that church. And when he retired, they can't remain in that congregation because too many of the parishioners would continue to rely on them as opposed to the new pastor. No one said you can't be here, but in that community, if you're a church-going person, you understand that when a pastor retires, he leaves that community and finds another one. And, you know, this is going on years ago now that they moved to this particular church. It's been over 30 years that mom has been a part of this community, and she has been... Mom's life is church. That's one thing her friend said to me, and she's right about that. And her friends in the church and the Bible studies and they call it circle, and then each circle has a name. It's like a women's group within the church that meets. It can meet once a week, once every 2 weeks. Theirs meets once a month. They set up all the different events that go on within the church. They're the women that get called if there's going to be a funeral, and everybody makes bars and makes, you know, hot dishes and things for the gathering after the funeral. Like my mom, she loves God. She is a Christian woman. They are experiencing the loss of my mother now. I do get that to an extent, and it did humble me. They are going through loss. They are grieving. They don't know what this is going to look like or how often they're going to see her or be able to keep in touch with her. They don't know. And so when you look at grief, right, there's how many stages, and one of them is anger. And that's where this woman is. I need to allow her process. What I said to the pastor was, if anyone wants to call me and find out how we came to the decision to put mama where we're putting her. And I hate saying putting her because it sounds like we're dropping her off and leaving her. It's just it's assisted living. She's going to get help. She's going to have a community of wonderful people around her. Anyway, I said to Pastor Paul, his name is, I said, can you tell people, you can give my number out. People can call me and I will walk through the process with them. But the one thing that I ask, they can be angry. It's okay. We need to be able to express that, right? Just as I did with my sister. But let's do it respectfully and kindly, because I was devastated by the things this woman said and I was hurt. And so I have not spoken to her. I have no desire to speak to her. If she calls me, I will, but I'm not going to seek her out. It was abusive. It was not okay. And so anyway, that said, one of the things that she kept coming at me with was, you girls, you girls. And I want to explain just briefly why that, of all the nasty things she said, because most people will be like, well, what's the big deal about you girls? My sister and I are 100% sisters, same mother, same father. We are not mom's daughters by blood at all. We are not her granddaughters by blood. She is my grandfather's second wife. She was a stepmother to my father. And she took me and Stacy when the shit hit the fan, and we were with her as very little girls for 13 months. Stacy was a baby. And then we went back because my parents remarried each other. And then when that shit hit the fan again, why the hell did we have to go through all that? But I guess we did. She was the one who said to my grandfather, we have to take them. And that's in my story of addiction to just about everything. And so I won't give that a lot of attention right now, but she said we have to take them, and he did agree. And they took us, and I was 5 and Stace was almost 4. And over, I would say within a year or so, Stacy started calling them mom and dad right away. It took me about a year to acclimate to that. I never called my real parents mom and dad. They were just David and Jerry. I don't know where that started or why that started. Never called them mom and dad. And so my grandparents were Nana and Boompa. And then they became mom and dad. And they've just always been mom and dad. And they never treated us less than anything like their own 2 daughters. Now, they had a son, Paul. So Paul is really my half uncle. But because we're so close in age, he was born in June of 67 and I was born in January of 68. He's just my brother. I don't think of him as a half uncle. I think of him as my brother. His children are my nieces and nephews. They're not my second cousins or whatever the hell you would call it. I don't think my sister received quite as much of this as I did. For everyone else, there was a distinction. You know, my grandparents had done this beautiful, wonderful thing. And, you know, I was damaged. I was angry. People would look at me and say hello, and you didn't know if you were going to get a hello or a motherfucker. That's the kind of shit that came out of my mouth. I had rage issues where I would tear my room apart, where I would go beat up other kids. I was that girl. I was an asshole. And, but I was full of all this turmoil inside and huge love and huge feelings of worthlessness and wanting to help others and having, you know, being an empath or being empathic and being able to sense when others needed help. Like it was this anomaly of, you know, dark and light within inside me. And I believe the light came out because of Mom, but other people saw that, and it was they kind of martyred my parents because I was so terrible. And I am not going to go into the specifics of a certain situation, but there was one man in the church who really, my little sister was so sweet and so quiet, and just, she was just this little bundle of love me, you know? And she grew into her own, trust me. She wasn't a wallflower by any means, but this person in the church who was an adult made it very clear to her that he thought that she and I were worthless, that nobody wanted us. This person said these things to her. And I think because I was the way I was, that people felt bad, you know, for my grandparents. And so you girls, it has always been that we were separate somehow. I'm the one with the chip on my shoulder about that. My sister's good. She's my mom. She's always been my mom. We know we love her, Denise. We know we're doing the best, you know, all of this. But I was this little girl who you could not say anything that was an insult or criticism or what, because man, I would react. And you girls, it meant we were separate somehow. That she and I were over here. And what hurt me the most about this woman saying that is that, don't say that about my sister. Like, when I was little, I could kick my sister's ass, but if anyone else did, you better fucking run, you know? And I don't want to kick my sister's ass anymore, but I'm protective and I love her. And she doesn't care. It doesn't faze her, but I'm over here going, you motherfucker, you know, thinking all this stuff, and how dare you? So that's why you girls was so whatever, because mom and dad never made us feel that they loved us any less than they loved Paul, who was their flesh and blood son. They never made us feel like that. And that's what people don't understand. They don't understand this lifetime of feeling that I didn't quite fit in or belong, that I felt that at the end of the day, no one really wanted me. You girls just added to that. And so that's one of the reasons I react so strongly to that. But obviously tears come up as I'm talking about this. I think this stuff, I'm just a sensitive girl, and it'll affect me all my life. You know, I know my stepmom has made the comment in the past, you know, it's the past. Get over it. Like, why can't she let go? It's not a matter of not letting go. It's just, it hurts. And it always will. And that little girl in there who got abandoned, she's just there. And she's going to be, and I love her now. And I try to love her, you know, because she felt so unlovable. And I think that the thing to do, even though I sometimes feel, shut up. I hate this phone. I look back and I feel embarrassed sometimes and ashamed of how I was as a kid, but that little girl just wanted love, so who am I not to look back and say, okay, you know, there were things that maybe other kids wouldn't have reacted to as much, whatever, but like, she was so hurt. And so that's why the tears come up. It's not a matter of not letting go, you know. It's a matter of that it will always hurt. It just will. And that's why that woman's words hurt me so much. I'm coming full circle with it. I can forgive her because I do believe what both my brother and the pastor said to me, you know, like where her anger is stemming from. But while I forgive her, I will never accept anyone being abusive to me. I just won't. And so she is not someone I will discuss things with again. If she calls me, I don't care if she's my elder and older than me. I'm going to say to her, I will have a conversation with you, but I need your assurance that you will behave and that you will be kind. And I will say that because I have the right to say that and to not enter into an abusive conversation. And I just want to say thank you again. What a beautiful, lovely community I have here on YouTube. Y'all are wonderful. And the emails and the messages, thank you. Thank you. I definitely do not have waterproof mascara on. And I'm going to go, and I'll be back next week with another Niece's Mini Musings, and maybe I can find something freaking funny to talk about. All this Debbie Downer shit. Dun, 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 dun. Here comes the news. Love you guys. I will see you next week.